evening, everyone. Am I audible? Welcome back to the class. Now let's just start with today's case. I hope everyone had joined or जो लोग date join करेंगे वो late join करें. The case name before us is Suniti Tuteja versus State of UP, and the bench is Justice B.V. Nagaratna and Justice Satish Chand Sharma. Now, this case of today deals with the principle as to taking the statutory validation or taking the statutory acceptance as to go ahead with the prosecution. Okay, so there is a requirement. May I know under which section the prosecution cannot be started against the public servant without the statutory sanction being given for that prosecution? What is the section number for the same? So the prior sanction is one of the requirement to go ahead and thereby made public servant liable. You all know. So what is the relevant section for the same under CRPC or under BNSS? तब तक आप ढूंढो, गूगल सर्च करो, तब तक मैं बता देती हूँ. सेक्शन नंबर नहीं, चीजें. हाँ, करेक्ट 197 और CRPC. Yes, please note it is 197 of CRPC. Fine. So over here, you know that if any citizen wants to go ahead and prosecute any public servant, then there is this one requirement. They cannot simply go ahead and prosecute it. जैसे कि वो किसी और citizen के against करते हैं, that is not the same procedure which is followed against the public servants. Rather, a sanction is required to be taken by the authority thereby so as to go ahead. Why is this thing? What is the object of taking any sanction and thereby making the public servants liable for the same? May I know? Section 197 does not talk about the object. But if we are understanding any law, we need to understand what was the object. क्योंकि जब कोई citizen के against जा रहा है, कोई individual के against कोई case file कर रहा है, they are not taking any kind of permission for the same. But why is it in scenarios like public servants, the citizen over here is required to take the sanction from the authority and then only he can go ahead and prosecute that public servant? What is the basic requirement? Why is this followed? Give your own logical answers. What you think? To prevent illegal arrest? Okay. What else? Good. They are acting while performing their official duty. Okay. Yes, kind of both the reasons which have been given over here. A person against whom the citizen or any other individual is filing the suit is not a citizen but rather a public servant who is performing some kind of official duty, a public duty which has been imposed by the government itself. And while performing those duties, there might be some errors, right? Now, for the same, if there are these errors over there, if the errors or any kind of omission done by that public servant is so minute that no prosecution is required, but a disciplinary proceedings can be initiated, and thereby the solution can be given through arbitration or by any other mode, then just to stop the case, then and thereby itself the sanctioning is required. Fine. Good, everyone. Okay? Now, in this Suniti Tuteja case, we'll be understanding this itself. Whether sanctioning is one of the prime requirement of going ahead and prosecuting, or is it that we can escape that sanction and thereby go ahead with the prosecution of any of the official person, firstly. And secondly, even the appellant or the respondent over here was stating that there is this concept of deeming sanction, deemed sanction. If the sanction is not actually given, the law deems sanction in it, and thereby the prosecution is correct in law. So we'll be understanding, is there any concept of deeming sanction or deemed sanction whereby the sanction is not given actually? Are we clear? So we'll be understanding two things. Whether in prosecuting any of the public official, sanction is one of the requirement or not. Secondly, if that sanction is not provided in the time duration within which it should be given, if that is not followed, is there a concept of deemed sanction in it or not? Fine. let's just read the facts and then we'll go ahead with the precedents first and then we'll go ahead with the opinion. Okay? The judgment in this case started with the precedents, quoting of a number of precedents. I picked up few which were important for you and then we'll go ahead with the opinion of the judgment or judges. Fact. The appellant was an employee of the Bureau of Indian Standards. The appellant is the employee, that is a public servant of BIS. The complainant, who was an associate director, had alleged sexual harassment by the ED during her tenure at the FSI. Okay? The appellant over here is the employee of the Bureau of Indian Standards. Complainant is an associate director of FSI and she alleged a sexual harassment by ED. A complaint was filed before the FSI for action to be taken under the provisions of the Sexual Harassment Act 2013. An internal complaint committee was constituted to investigate the complainant's allegation and ED was found guilty as well. It was recommended that an FIR to be registered against him for the offences under IPC. Are we clear? So जो internal committee बैठी, they found ED guilty of sexual harassment and thereby they recommended that an FIR should be registered under the IPC. However, the FSI did not take any action against the said person. So the institute, the public authority over here, did not take any action against the said person, that is ED. Now thereby, resultantly, the complainant filed an FIR and during the investigation, so she herself went ahead and filed the FIR because the company over here had not followed the same. She asserted in that FIR that the appellant, in her capacity as the presiding officer of the ICC, on behalf of the FSI representatives and supposedly the complainant had filed a counter affidavit on her behalf without consent during the proceeding before the CAT. Over here, simply understand that the complainant had filed an FIR against the ED as well as against the appellant. Why against the appellant? ED के against तो समझ में आ रहा है because of the sexual harassment being proved by the ICC. But why the appellant was taken into consideration? Because she was asserting that the appellant, in the capacity of the presiding officer of the ICC, on the behalf of the representatives of the institute, that is FSI, as well as representative of the complainant herself, had filed, this presiding officer, that is the appellant, had filed a counter affidavit on the behalf of her, that is on the behalf of the complainant, without her consent. Over here, she is stating कि ये जो एक्ट किया है appellant ने, जो कि presiding officer है, और उन्होंने रिप्रेजेंट किया इंस्टीट्यूट को और मुझे भी रिप्रेजेंट किया, जबकि मैंने उनसे कहा भी नहीं कि मुझे रिप्रेजेंट करो, और मेरे बिहाफ में और रिप्रेजेंट करते हुए उन्होंने काउंटर एफिडेविट इशू कर दिया. दिस इज वन ऑफ द थिंग. She also alleged that she was transferred, that is the complainant was transferred from Delhi to Chennai. And when she gave a representation to cancel her transfer, the appellant threatened her by saying that if she does not want to go to Chennai, then she can take a study leave and quit the place, or else she would be harassed. So there is a kind of threatening also. Further, the appellant was also allegedly involved in threatening and pressuring the complainant to withdraw the case. So for all these three matters, even no, not executive director. What is the meaning of ED? What is the meaning of ED? Over here, your appellant is made liable for enforcement directorate. Three things. Firstly, she had filed a counter affidavit which was not with her consent. Secondly, there was threatening in transferring her. And thirdly, she also got threatened to withdraw the case. For all these three matters, she was made one of the respondent in this case. Sure. अभी मैं एक बार complete करूँ. I'll go ahead with the facts again. अभी जब मैंने repeat किया तब भी नहीं समझ में आया. चलो ठीक है. Let me just go ahead with the facts again. Appellant was sexually harassed. ICC, that is the Internal Complaint Committee, proved the same. They recommended go ahead with the FIR. FIR was not registered. Thereby, the complainant herself filed the FIR. In that FIR, two things were alleged. Firstly, an FIR was registered against the accused itself, that is the ED. Secondly, the appellant was also made one of the parties, stating that the appellant, without her consent, filed the counter affidavit on her behalf, firstly, before the CAT. Secondly, she threatened her to transfer to another place, whereby she requested not to get transferred. And thirdly, there was another threatening done by the appellant of withdrawing the case. So there was threatening done by the public servant over here, and as well as a counter affidavit without her permission, without her consent was signed. So on these behalf, the appellant was also made a party to this case. Are we clear now? Why appellant was involved? Please remember this thing, the appellant is an employee of BIS. And for some days, BIS की member है वो, but for some time she was made a presiding officer of ICC. ठीक है, remember this. कि वो ICC presiding officer कुछ समय के लिए बनी थी, otherwise she is an employee of BIS. Now moving ahead. Thereby, the special CJM took cognizance of the same. On these allegations against the appellant, CJM took the cognizance. The appellant's petition to quash the charge sheet was dismissed by the High Court. So, on summoning, the appellant filed the petition before the High Court under the invoking the inherent power of the High Court and quashing that charge sheet. But this got dismissed by the High Court, which, however, granted bail. Though bail was granted to the appellant, but the charge sheet was the quashment of the charge sheet wala jo petition tha, that got dismissed. Hence, the appellant aggrieved by the dismissal approached the Supreme Court under SLC. Are we clear now? Appellant being alleged for being an accused in this case, thereby has requested the High Court invoking the inherent power to quash the charge sheet, but that request was dismissed by the High Court, and thereby the aggrieved had filed the SLP before the Supreme Court. Moving ahead. One section itself is very important. 197 and 218 of BNSS, prosecution of judges and public servants. For today, we'll be focusing on this particular issue itself. So the issue is whether the prior sanction was necessary for the prosecution of the appellant being a public servant under 197 CRPC, or whether the magistrate was correct in taking cognizance against the appellant without there being any sanction. So whether the prior sanction is one of the necessity for prosecution of public servant, or the magistrate was correct in taking cognizance without there being any kind of sanction. No, not the appellant, complainant. दो वर्ड्स है, complainant. सबसे पहला स्टार्ट ही हुआ है कि appellant is the employee of BIS. There is this complainant who is the associate director of FSI. ठीक है, उसने कंप्लेंट की कि मेरे अगेंस्ट ईडी ने सेक्सुअल हरासमेंट किया है. appellant कब पिक्चर में आई? जब उसको प्रिसाइडिंग ऑफिसर बनाया गया आईसीसी का, तब वो पिक्चर में आई. उससे पहले उसको खुद कह रही है कि ना मेरे अगेंस्ट एफआईआर रजिस्टर हुई, ना ही मेरे अगेंस्ट कोई आईसीसी के अंदर मेरे अगेंस्ट कोई भी एलिस्ट कोई कंप्लेंट थी. ये कहां से मैं बन गई पार्टी? वो खुद शॉक है. ठीक है. Yes, complainant is the one who has been harassed. Appellant is the presiding officer of ICC. She is the one who had filed the counter affidavit. She is the one who has threatened the complainant over here. And thereby, जब भाई FSI को रिकमेंड किया गया था गो अहेड विद दी रजिस्टरिंग दी एफआईआर, अगर वो रजिस्टर करती तो शायद ईडी के अगेंस्ट ही होती, बट क्योंकि उसने रजिस्टर नहीं की और खुद जाके कंप्लेनेंट ने फाइल की एफआईआर, उस केस में उसने appellant को भी अंदर अपने शामिल कर लिया. Are we clear now? कि why appellant is taken into picture? Appellant was taken into picture at a very later stage. वो beginning में कभी भी part of this allegation नहीं थी. ठीक है. It is the complainant over here. Appellant is Suniti Tuteja. Fine. Yes everyone, जिनको प्रॉब्लम थी. सैंक्शन फ्रॉम किससे आप सैंक्शन लोगे? BIS से sanction लोगे. If the appellant is the employee of BIS, then the BIS has to sanction the prosecution. He is in the picture, but he had no issue. जो आज का current facts है, हम appellant की बात कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि appellant को sanction नहीं मिला था. ED के against तो sexual harassment का केस हो ही सकता है ना, क्योंकि ICC ने प्रूव कर दिया ये चीज. ICC ने फाउंड गिल्टी कर दिया ना. अब क्यों लेंगे कोई प्रोसिक्यूशन? अब कोई सैंक्शन क्यों लिया जाएगी ईडी के अगेंस्ट? अब तो हो सकता है, राइट? ईडी के अगेंस्ट इट इज पॉसिबल, एप्लेंट के अगेंस्ट नहीं. श्योर, लेट मी जस्ट सिंप्लीफाई फॉर यू. तो भूल जाओ, ये फर्स्ट लाइन को भूल जाओ. लेट जस्ट रिमूव दिस लाइन and start afresh. So there is this complainant who is an associate director of FSI. She complains that there is a sexual harassment by the ED, which got proven by internal complaint committee, which has to be made under the POSH Act, that is Sexual Harassment Act. Now, this ICC has also recommended the FSI to go ahead with the institution of FIR, but they did not register any FIR. Thereby, the complainant herself went ahead to the police station and registered the FIR against the ED and the appellant. Now, this another person against whom this FIR was registered was Suniti Tandreja. She is the one who is the presiding officer of the internal complaint committee who had found the ED guilty of this sexual harassment. Now, on what basis the appellant came into this picture was why Suniti Tandreja was made one of the respondent in this case, because of the simple reason she had filed a counter affidavit without the permission of the complainant. Firstly, please keep on writing it. Okay? Secondly, yes, ED has harassed complainant. Let's just listen to me. So, appellant was made. Please don't keep your questions aside. Let's listen to me first. वरना फिर लिखते चले जाओगे, मेरी बात ही नहीं सुनोगे, फिर क्वेश्चन करोगे. So, Suniti Tandreja was made one of the respondent in this case by the complainant because of three reasons. First, that she filed a counter affidavit on behalf of your complainant, thereby representing the FSI, because she was the presiding officer of the ICC, Internal Complaint Committee. Thereby, जब CAT में appellant tribunal में जब भी proceedings चल रही थी, she represented the FSI for the same and thereby filed the counter affidavit. Now, the complainant was not satisfied by that counter affidavit which was filed. Why? Because that was filed without her consent, firstly. Secondly, the Suniti Tandreja over here has also threatened the complainant to transfer to Chennai. And when she requested not to go ahead with the transfer, she stated to leave the job. Take the study leave and leave the job, or you will be get harassed. And thirdly, she even threatened the complainant that go ahead and withdraw this case. So on these three bases, she was also made one of the respondent. Now, the appellant over here is challenging the cognizance taken by the charge sheet which has been filed against her, stating that I was not the party to this incident. I never harassed it. Why am I making this respondent over here? Firstly, this. Secondly, she is stating the learned counsel from the appellant side over here is stating that Suniti Tandreja should not be made one of the respondent because of the simple matter, the sanction was not given by the BIS. She was the employee of BIS and thereby they are stating no sanction has been given by the BIS. She is one of the public authority, public servant over here and no sanction was given. Are we clear? You are telling me. हाँ, correct. Are we clear? ED के ऊपर कोई अभी मैटर नहीं है. ED ने ये सूट फाइल नहीं किया है. Appellant over here is filing the suit on two bases, stating कि मैं कहाँ से आ गई अचानक से, and secondly stating कि यहाँ पर तो मुझे sanction भी नहीं दिया गया है. Clear? On this, your Supreme Court is deciding whether the prior sanction was necessary for the prosecution of appellant Suniti Tandreja, which is a public servant. मैंने आपके convenience लिखा है public servant. That is not proven under 197, or whether the magistrate was correct in taking cognizance against the appellant without being there any sanction. Fine. Now, moving ahead with the precedents first, and then we'll move ahead with other things. Gurmeet Kaur versus Devender Gupta. Remember this case. The object and purpose of Section 197 is to protect officers and officials of the state from unjustified criminal prosecution. Okay? The purpose is not to go ahead with the unjustified criminal prosecution. जैसे मैंने बताया था ना, simple सा omission हुआ है ना, for that matter we cannot go ahead with the prosecution while they discharge their duties within the scope and ambit of their powers entrusted by them, while they are discharging any of the public official duty. Thereby, any unjustified criminal prosecution should not take place. Now, second, there is no doubt that in the instant case of the appellant, over here in 2024 case, not in our present case, okay? There is no doubt that in the instant case of the appellant, herein was a public servant, but the question is, whether while discharging her duty as a public servant on the relevant date, there was any excess in the discharge of the said duty, which did not require the first respondent herein to take a prior sanction for prosecution. So at any time when you are discussing whether the sanctioning, the prior sanctioning is one of the requirement, you need to determine at that time on the same day when the person against whom that sanction is required was discharging the public duty firstly. If she is discharging that public duty, there should not be an excess of that duty. Jitna diya hai, within that boundary of that public duty, that duty has to be exercised. Fine. If there is an excess of that duty, जैसे for example, I was bound to take care of दिल्ली रीजन, मुझे सिर्फ दिल्ली पे फोकस करना था कि दिल्ली पे मेरा ट्रैफिक बना रहे. अब मैं दिल्ली के बियॉन्ड जाके ट्रैफिक रोक रही हूँ, तो मेरा तो एक्सेस ऑफ पावर हो गया ना. क्या मेरे को अलाउड था गाजियाबाद जाके ट्रैफिक रोकना? नहीं था. Similarly, if that is the scenario, then in that case, what will happen? The prior requirement of sanction might not be the one of the essential. In this regard, the salient words which are relevant under subsection 1 of section 197 are, is accused of any offence alleged to have been committed by him while acting or purporting to act in the discharge of his official duty. No court shall take cognizance of such offence except with the previous sanction. This is the bare provision of 197 itself. Therefore, for the purpose of application of 197, a sine qua non is that the public servant is accused of any offence which had been committed by him in discharge of his public official duty. The said expression would clearly indicate that section 197 would not apply to a case if the public servant is accused of any offence which he deholds or not connected to the discharge of his or her official duty. So, sanctioning, prior sanction is a sine qua non, is one of the most essential elements if the public servant is discharging his official duty. Understood? But 197 will not apply in cases whereby the person is doing any deholds or not connected, any act which is not connected to the official duty. Fine? So in this case, the Supreme Court has simply stated what is the scope and object of 197. Secondly, they went ahead and stated, आप कैसे determine करोगे? Not as a whole. मैं अगर मेरा करियर 20 years का रहा है, तो for 20 years मेरा करियर नहीं जज किया जाएगा कि मैंने हर दिन कितना काम किया. जिस दिन alleged offense मैंने commit किया है, whichever offense I have committed, in that particular day it will be seen whether that offense was committed while I was discharging my public duty. If it is within discharging of that public duty, I would be taken aback, and the sanctioning, prior sanctioning is one of the requirements. But if I have made an excess of that power and thereby I had committed an offense, thereby there cannot be any prior requirement as to taking prior sanction. Are we clear? Secondly, if within the discharge of my public duty I have done my work, the sine qua non, very important essential, is the prior sanction under 197. But if I have done any act which is not connected, any way connected with my official duty, thereby no prior sanction is the requirement. Are we clear? Moving ahead with Amod Kumar Kant versus Association of Victims of Upar Tragedy. No need to remember the case name, बस आप समझ लो क्या लिखा है. 3-judge bench of this court has observed that the question of cognizance being taken in the absence of sanction and thereby section 197 being flouted is not to be conflated and thereby confused with the question as to whether an offense has been committed. Over here, the thing is, if the question is of the cognizance being taken in the absence of sanction and thereby section 197 being floated मतलब being not denied upon. जब 197 को deny कर दियो, cognizance magistrate ने without sanction ले लियो, is not to be conflated, not should be combined with, not should be consolidated, and thereby confused with the question as to whether an offense has been committed. मतलब जहां पर क्वेश्चन आ रहा है कि मैजिस्ट्रेट ने विदाउट सैंक्शन किसी पब्लिक सर्वेंट के अगेंस्ट कॉग्निजेंस ले लिया हो, दिस क्वेश्चन शुड नॉट बी कंफ्यूज्ड विद whether an offense has been committed. Offense commit हुआ है कि नहीं क्वेश्चन और मैजिस्ट्रेट का कॉग्निजेंस आर टू सेपरेट थिंग्स. ठीक है, प्लीज रिमेंबर whether the offense has been actually committed by public servant and whether magistrate took cognizance without sanction are two separate things. You cannot confuse and combine these two questions. Why? Because the salutary purpose, the main object or purpose behind 197 is protection being accorded to public servants. Over here, if we analyze the case properly, the Supreme Court is stating the cognizance should be within the line of provision. The magistrate should cognizance only if the public servant के against when the prior sanction has been given. Magistrate should not say, no, there is no such offense, or the public servant has done any duty beyond his official work, and thereby no sanction is requirement. That is not upon the magistrate to decide it. Magistrate has to follow the provision itself, the procedure itself. That is, whenever the sanction is being given, then only the cognizance can be taken. Right? So very clearly, Supreme Court has stated 2023 में these two questions are two different things. Whereby in 2024, Supreme Court ने क्या कहा कि अगर कोई public servant कोई public discharge of public duty कर रहा है, sanctioning is assigned को or not. बट अगर नॉट कनेक्टेड एक्ट कर रहा है तो आप जाके क्या कर सकते हो, सैंक्शन को नहीं भी लोगे तो भी चलेगा काम. मूविंग अहेड, getting more clarity to it, this is Amrik Singh versus State of Pepsi before you, 1955 case, giving a more clear view on this point. It is not every offense committed by the public servant that requires sanction for prosecution under 197 subsection 1. May I know what offenses which does not require the sanction is being talked about over here in your 1955 case? Which kinds of offenses which have been committed by a public servant requires no sanction thereby? Magistrate has the actual power to go ahead and prosecute them then and there by itself. अब नहीं, मैं ऑफेंस की बात करूं. आई वांट टू नो द ऑफेंस. थेफ्ट का ऑफेंस होगा या डेकॉइटी ऑफेंस है, कौन सा ऑफेंस है जिसमें आप कहते हो कि इसमें तो पर से नहीं, करप्शन नहीं, पर से आपका होगा. नॉट करप्शन, करप्शन केसेस में आपको लेना पड़ता है सैंक्शन. वेरी गुड मानसी. रेप, रेप इटसेल्फ, अगर आप प्रोविजन पढ़ो तो वहां पर लिखा भी है कि किसी ऑथराइज के अंदर भी रेप हो रहा है, इट विल कॉन्स्टिट्यूट अ रेप. कॉग्निजेबल ऑफेंस, ऐसा कॉग्निजेबल ऑफेंस लिखोगे, रेप लिखोगे. ठीक है, रेप इज वन ऑफ द ऑफेंसेस वेयर बाय नो सैंक्शन इज रिक्वायर्ड. अंडरस्टूड? और यू कैन से एनी ऑफेंस अगेंस्ट द चिल्ड्रन और वुमेन. यस यस. अभी शालिनी टिल नाउ, अभी मैं जजमेंट नहीं बता सकती. टिल नाउ यू कैन अग्री विद द फैक्ट दैट सैंक्शन इज वन ऑफ द रिक्वायरमेंट ओनली व्हेन द पब्लिक सर्वेंट इज डिस्चार्जिंग हिज पब्लिक ड्यूटी. फाइन. मर्डर में भी काइंड ऑफ सैंक्शन की जरूरत पड़ जाती है. अगर पुलिस ऑफिसर है और वो उसको दिया ऑथराइज किया है टू यूज दी बंदूक, और उसमें तब उसने कोई गोली चला ली, तब सैंक्शन की जरूरत होगी अरेस्ट करते वक्त। इट ऑल डिपेंड्स अपॉन द सिनेरियो, बट रेप इज वन ऑफ द केस। रेप एक ऐसा एक सेटल्ड इशू है जहां पर नो सैंक्शनिंग इज रिक्वायर्ड। So any offense against the children or women, then no sanction per se is required. Are we clear? Please remember, very very important thing. जो बेयर एक्ट में नहीं है ना, that becomes so important for your exam. और मैंने क्रॉस चेक किया था कल का जो आपका क्वेश्चन था, कल का नहीं परसों का शायद था, कि whether this in remand 60 या 90 days inclusive of 15 होता है, there is no such provision. ठीक है, there is no such law. शायद हो सकता है कि उड़ते उड़ते कोई लॉ होगा, but there is no such law कि 15 days is inclusive in your 60 and 90 days. Moving ahead, it is not every offense committed which requires sanction. So over here write it, rape or offense against children or women. Nor even every act done by him while he is actually engaged in the performance of official duty. But if the act complained of is directly concerned with his official duty, so that then sanction would be necessary. अगर बिल्कुल directly connected है with the official duty, then sanction is one of the requirement. That would be so, irrespective of whether it was in fact a proper discharge of his duties. That is some different question, whether the act which was committed or offense committed was in the proper discharge of his duty or not. That is something else, because that would really be a matter of defense on the merits. It is the burden upon the public servant to prove it कि भाई नहीं, it was within the proper discharge of my duties, which would have to be investigated at the trial and could not arise at the stage of granting of sanction, which must precede the institution of the prosecution. So at a very first stage, while going ahead and taking the cognizance or going ahead with the investigation, what is required to be seen, if any public servant has to be prosecuted, if that thing is very much connected, directly connected with the official duty, sanction is a requirement. If it is not at all connected, simply यहीं पर लिखा था ना, not connected, dehors बिल्कुल connected नहीं है to the official duty, तब बिल्कुल भी sanction की जरूरत नहीं है. Whether the act complained of hinge on his duties as public servant, if they do, then sanction is required. It is related to his public duty, sanction is a requirement. But if they are unconnected with such duties, no sanction is necessary. Are we clear? Public servant अगर within the public duty कोई भी offense commit कर रहा है, sanction is one of the requirement, though there are few exceptions. But if it is unconnected work, not so connected with the official duty, something which has not been authorized by the government and still an offense has been committed while committing that thing. Just for example, yes, there is this government के drivers होते हैं, government driver अगर drive कर रहा हो, accident cause कर दे रहा है, in that scenario, sanction is one of the requirement. If he is driving his own personal vehicle and thereby committing an accident, will sanction a requirement over here? While a government driver is driving his own vehicle and thereby causing an accident, is sanction is one of the prime requirement as per section 197 of CRPC or 218 of BNSS? Yes. No. Okay? Are you now able to understand? He is doing the same work, driving. But is he driving the public vehicle? No. That is his own vehicle and thereby now he will be held liable. अब क्या वो क्लेम करता नहीं, आई एम अ पब्लिक सर्वेंट, आई वाज ड्राइविंग, दैट इज माय ड्यूटी. आप देख लो, मैं तो 20 साल से ड्राइव कर रहा हूँ, मैंने उस दिन भी ड्राइव कर रहा था, मैं सुबह सुबह ड्राइव कर रहा था. आप जब खुद की व्हीकल ड्राइव कर रहे हो, बियॉन्ड दी क्या कहते हैं, टॉट का एक वर्ड है, कैन एनीबडी टेल मी, बियॉन्ड दी समथिंग, जब हम लोग ड्यूटी वाइकेरियस लाइबिलिटी को एनालाइज करते हैं. लेट्स सी हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू रिमेंबर, क्योंकि मैं तो बिल्कुल भूल गई. ठीक है, तो अगर बियॉन्ड योर दिस थिंग हो रहा है, तब इन दैट सिनेरियो आपकी कोई भी जो एडवांटेजेस हैं, कोई भी प्रोटेक्शन अंडर लॉ है, दैट वोंट बी एप्लीकेबल. नाउ लेट्स सी व्हाट इज स्टेटेड ओवर हियर. सो प्लीज रिमेंबर द केसेस. एक तो अमरीक सिंह वर्सेस स्टेट ऑफ पेप्सू, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट केस, एंड देन यू कैन रिमेंबर योर गुरमीत कौर वर्सेस देवेंद्र गुप्ता. नहीं, बियॉन्ड मास्टर सर्विस, स्कोप ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट, यस, बियॉन्ड द स्कोप ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट, गुड. beyond the business hours. Good, good. Thank you so much for telling me. Now, moving ahead with today's case. समझ गए? यहाँ पर appellant कौन है? Please remember, appellant is the employee of BIS. BIS is not a private company. Now, if the accused public servant was acting in the performance of his or her official duties, and if the answer is in affirmative, the prior sanction for their prosecution is a condition precedent to the cognizance of the cases. Very important. If accused was acting in the performance, I'll tell you. If the public servant was acting in the performance of official duty, then your prior sanction is one of the condition precedent against them by the court. It is therefore largely a disputed question of fact here and not a question of law. Very important. Whether prior sanction is one of the requirements to any public servant. So for that matter, the magistrate has to look with the fact whether the work which the public servant was doing within the official duty or not. For this, determining this fact, this thing is a question of fact, not a question of law. Law ne determine karega ki you were discharging your public duty or not at that time. It is the fact which will be determining, and thereby it becomes a question of fact. Very important. However, this fact of appellant herein acting in her official capacity is not seriously contested by the respondent. Even the respondent over there, the complainant over here, has not contested this thing. कि जो appellant था, she was not discharging her official duty. Fine. In the instant case, the appellant had filed the counter affidavit and interacted with the complainant in her capacity of a presiding officer, ICC. The correctness of the allegations with regard to the conduct of the appellant need not be ascertained herein by this court. अब what is the conduct, whether it is correct conduct, whether it is not, in depth the Supreme Court is not dealing with, right? पहले भी तो कहा गया ना, the question as to cognizance or whether the question as to whether the offense has been committed are two different things that cannot be mixed up. अमरीक सिंह के केस में यही कहा गया. Similarly, the Supreme Court is stating over here, this is two different things. I am not going into depth whether the offense has been actually committed or not. But if this thing has not been contested, this thing has not been reputed by the complainant, the respondents over here, that the things which the appellant has done were beyond the official duty, then in that scenario, obviously the sanctioning is one of the prime requirement. The correctness of the allegation with regard to the conduct of appellant need not be ascertained herein by this court. But the fact that she was acting in her official duty is sufficient to hold that a prior sanctions of the department was in fact necessary before the magistrate taking cognizance against her. आगे क्लियर. मैंने अमरीक सिंह का केस इसीलिए कहा कि मत याद रखो क्योंकि उसका ही कहीं ना कहीं सा इंटरप्रिटेशन हमारे इस पर्टिकुलर केस में है. Right? The Supreme Court is denying the fact in cases where the prior sanctioning point has to be seen. In that matter, only and only thing is requirement whether the person, the public servant, was discharging the public duty or not. Other than that, the Supreme Court should not enter into the question whether she has actually committed the offense or not. That is something which has to be decided in merit, right? That cannot be decided per se by looking at into the fact itself. Moving ahead. The magistrate therefore erred in proceeding to take cognizance against the appellant without the sanction for prosecution being received from BIS. And since BIS has eventually refused to grant sanction for the prosecution against the appellant could not have been sustained. ठीक है? Per se over here, the Supreme Court had denied that the magistrate has denied that there should not be any cognizance taken by the magistrate. Why? Because prior sanction was one of the requirements. They had further stated that BIS has eventually refused to grant sanction. There was even refusal. What is not clear? Okay, further BIS has refused to grant sanction. What should I explain? This paragraph or the prior paragraph? Or should I explain the whole thing? ठीक है, wait. Over here, let's just understand. ठीक है. Leave. No, let me just tell you. Over here, the settled point is that the appellant over here is one of the public servant, right? This is the settled point. Understood? This is being settled by because the respondent has in no way in their submission has stated the appellant is not a public servant, or while she was threatening the complainant over here, while she had filed the counter affidavit, she was not acting as a public servant. She was not discharging his duty as a public servant. So this has not been reputed. This has not been objected by the respondent side. So Supreme Court over here stated कि यहाँ पर this is a settled issue that what the appellant was doing, that filing the counter affidavit and everything, that was done during or discharging her public duty. Firstly, now if this is being settled, then Supreme Court is denying the fact that we don't need to go ahead with the fact whether the offense has actually been committed. The offense has to threatening. Okay? The Supreme Court is stating we will not go into the fact whether the actual offense of threatening the complainant has been done by the appellant over here or not. Why? Because one of the prime requirement of 197 is if the public servant has done any offense during discharging of his public duty, then the prior sanction is a requirement. In our scenario, the prior sanction of BIS was not taken by the prosecution. The prosecution there and then and there itself started with the prosecution against the appellant. If the prior sanctioning was not taken, the question over here is to determine whether prior sanction is one of the requirement or not. If we look into the facts of today's case, the appellant has been proven that she was discharging on public duty, and thereby now the prior sanction is one of the requirements, which was not followed, and thereby the cognizance by the magistrate is faulty. Are we clear? Understood? Now, in this paragraph itself, the Supreme Court has settled one other point, that in determining the question as to prior sanction, only and only one thing has to be looked into: whether the public servant was discharging the public duty or not. This is the only question which has to be looked into, and this is a question of fact. Other thing, that is whether an actual offense has been committed by the public servant, is not a question which has to be determined at this stage. Why? Because अगर prior sanction ही नहीं दिया होगा तो सारी proceedings waste है. अगर actual offense भी commit हुआ है, फिर भी तो prior sanction की need थी, तभी तो prosecution हो सकता है. तो prosecution पहले prior stage में अगर खराब हुआ तो सारा ही पूरा all together illegal हो जाएगा. That is why Supreme Court in today's case will be determining whether the prior sanction is one of the requirement or not. They are not dealing with the merit of the case. Over here, the Supreme Court had settled this point. She is a public servant. She was discharging a public duty. In that discharging of public duty, she had filed that counter affidavit, being the presiding officer of the ICC, and thereby prior sanction is a requirement, which was not granted by BIS eventually. Even after days, BIS had not granted that sanction, and thereby the prosecution of the appellant is illegal. Are we clear now? अभी मेरा एक और क्वेश्चन है, इसीलिए मैं भी पूरा आपको डेप्थ में नहीं बता रही. Are we clear now? Till now? नहीं, जिनको डाउट था वो तो बताएं क्लियर हुआ कि नहीं. Yes, Ayman, Shalini, Ritik and Sajal. Is it clear? Appellant is being proven as a public servant, and thereby she is being the requirement as to prior sanction becomes one of the prime essential ingredient to go ahead with the prosecution, and thereby which was not granted. That is why the magistrate cognizance is illegal. Moving ahead. Sure, I will. Now, going ahead with the another contention which was laid by the complainant over here, complainant. So complainant is stating that we don't went with the prior sanction because of the simple reason there is a concept of deemed sanctioning. ऐसे नहीं केस फाइल हुआ, ऐसे नहीं कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट अगर प्रायर सैंक्शनिंग कुछ तो डिफेंस होगा तभी तो कंप्लेनेंट आगे बढ़ रहा है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट तक आ गया मैटर। तो यहाँ पर कंप्लेनेंट अपना एक डिफेंस रख रहा है कि प्रायर सैंक्शन नहीं था, वी अग्री, बट देयर इज अ कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ डीम्ड सैंक्शन जो कि था, एंड दैट इज व्हाई प्रोसिक्यूशन इज लीगल, द मैजिस्ट्रेट कॉग्निजेंस इज लीगल। नाउ व्हाट इज दिस? Now, there's this concept that there's a requirement that the sanctioning by any of the authorities should be given within the range of 3 months. So within 3 months, the sanction should be provided. This is one of the prime requirements. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है किसी any citizen wants to go ahead with the prosecution of the public servant and the authority is not even sanctioning and they are taking 2 years, 3 years. No, everything in this law is very time bound. Eventually over here this तभी यहाँ पर एक word आप देख रहे होगे, BIS has eventually refused to grant sanction, right? तभी ये word यहाँ पर दिया हुआ है। Now what happened कि पहले स्टार्टिंग में for 3 months BIS ने कोई sanction provide नहीं की, no answer, no yes, no कुछ भी नहीं बोला। On that basis prosecution started on the thought that there is a concept of deemed sanctioning. Now the complainant over here has referred two important cases to which the Supreme Court is determining whether these two cases which has been referred, that in these two Supreme Court cases the concept of deemed sanction was provided. Deemed sanction is not a concept given per se under the BNSS or CRPC for that matter. Under section 197 there is no concept of deemed sanction, but that is something which has been interpreted according to complainant. ठीक है? So now Supreme Court will be determining whether what complainant is contending regarding these two cases is particularly applicable over here or not. अब समझ में आ रहा है कैसे ये केस आगे बढ़ रहा है? केस ऐसे नहीं बढ़ा, केस deemed sanction के accordingly आगे बढ़ा. Now Supreme Court is determining the argument advanced by the complainant with respect to deemed sanction is also not tenable. स्टार्टेड में ही कह दिया ये जो डीम सैंक्शन का कॉन्सेप्ट जो कि कंप्लेनेंट बोल रहे हैं कि डीम सैंक्शन कॉन्सेप्ट है ये भी और यहाँ पर एप्लीकेबल नहीं है। सेक्शन 197 of CRPC does not envisage a concept of deemed sanction as the complainant relied upon the judgment of this court, that the Supreme Court in Vineet Narayan versus Union of India 1998, and contended that time period of 3 months for grant of sanction has to be strictly adhered to. However, this is something the complainant has contended कि the time period of 3 months is to be strictly adhered. अगर नहीं हुआ तो deemed sanction माना जाएगा. However, a perusal of the said judgment reveals that it did not deal with section 197. Rather, it dealt with the investigation powers and procedures of CBI and CVC, while it did not mention that the time limits for grant of sanctions for prosecution must be strictly adhered to. There is no observation to the effect that lack of grant of sanction for prosecution would amount to deemed sanction for prosecution. Two things have been stated. Vineet Narayan में जो कि contend कर रहा है complainant that the time period of 3 months should be strictly adhered to. Supreme Court is stating firstly 197 was not talked about. While this is the thing which was stated over there, 197 was not talked about. Rather, investigation powers and procedures of CBI and CVC, Central Vigilance Commission, was talking about. Secondly, while it did mention about the time limit, but अगर लिखा हुआ है कि strictly adhered होना चाहिए, it does not mean that it is somehow relying upon the point कि deemed sanction होगा उसके बाद. जब तक कि इंटरप्रिटेशन में स्पेसिफिकली एक्सप्रेसली वर्ड डीम सैंक्शन ना यूज करे जाए, nobody can interpret it. If there is the scenario कि this time limit should be strictly followed, तो इसके बाद क्या होगा, that is something जो कि बाद में देखी जाएगी. जो चीज लिखी नहीं है, the Supreme Court cannot rely upon. Yes. 3 months time period is given for the authorities to go ahead with the prior sanctioning. Prior sanction को 3 month में देना होता है from the date of application. ठीक है? नो क्या कह रहे हो? Fine. So विनीत नारायण के केस में सिर्फ इतना सा था कि time period of granting of sanctioning of prior sanctioning should be strictly followed. This was something stated. Now the complainant has interpreted it in another word कि अगर if this is being strictly followed, अगर इसके beyond जाएगा तो deemed sanction माना जाएगा. Supreme Court had denied this interpretation of the complainant. Moving ahead, similarly, they placed reliance on the judgment of this court in Subramaniam Swamy versus Manmohan Singh, 2011, and contended that if no decision is taken by the sanctioning authority, then at the end of the extended time limit, sanction will be deemed to be granted for the proposal for prosecution. This is what they are contending. After the judgment and everything, this was stated if no decision is taken by the sanctioning authority at the end of the extended time period. Extended time मतलब sanctioning authority का वैसे 3 महीने 3 महीने के बाद भी extended time period में भी अगर उन्होंने कोई decision नहीं लिया, sanctioning will be deemed to be granted for the proposal or for the prosecution. Yeah, no way mentioning of 3 months in section 197. That is one of the interpretation. 197% नहीं लिखा होगा तो interpretation है ये. कोई ना कोई time limit होनी चाहिए. कहाँ थी मैं? हाँ. ठीक है? This is something which the contention has been raised upon by the complainant. However, even the said judgment does not in any way deemed sanction मतलब मान लिया जाएगा खुद से माना जाएगा कि सैंक्शन मिल गया. Why माना जाएगा? Why is there the implied sanction? क्योंकि टाइम पीरियड दिया हुआ है कि भाई इतने समय में आपको सैंक्शन देनी है. इफ दैट इज नॉट फॉलो तो मान लिया जाएगा कि सैंक्शनिंग मिल गई है. अंडरस्टूड? implied sanction. However, even the said judgment, the Supreme Court stating analyzing that even the said judgment of Subramanian Swamy does not in any manner lay down the notion of deemed sanction. Firstly, the said judgment primarily dealt with Prevention of Corruption Act, not with BNSS or CRPC for that matter, and the sanction for the prosecution under that act. और जो सैंक्शनिंग की बात की जा रही है वो प्रिवेंशन ऑफ करप्शन एक्ट की बात की जा रही है सुब्रमण्यम स्वामी के केस में. 197 के अंदर सैंक्शनिंग की बात नहीं की जा रही है. सेकेंडली, court had given some guidelines for the consideration of the parliament. Secondly, यहाँ पर कोर्ट ने गाइडलाइन दी कि वो पार्लियामेंट कंसिडर करे, one of which is to effect that at the end of the extended time period, if no decision is taken, sanction will be deemed to have been granted to the proposal for prosecution. अब ये एक प्रपोजल दिया गया है पार्लियामेंट को कि वो चाहे तो लेजिस्लेचर में ये चीज इंक्लूड कर सकती है ऑफ द प्रिवेंशन ऑफ करप्शन एक्ट के. क्या कि अगर एक्सटेंडेड टाइम पीरियड में भी आपका सैंक्शन नहीं मिला हो, देन इट वुड बी डीम्ड सैंक्शन. इट वुड बी implied as if the sanction has been provided. However, such a proposition has not yet been statutorily incorporated. This was one of the recommendations. This recommendation was yet not followed by the parliament. And in such a scenario, this court cannot read such a mandate into the statute when it does not exist. अब जब ये चीज फॉलो ही नहीं हुई लेजिस्लेचर में तो the Supreme Court cannot read it, cannot apply this thing. Why? Because this has not yet been followed by the parliament. Are we clear with these two cases? ठीक है? This over here, the complainant is stating, let's not go ahead कि the proposal, the prior sanction was not provided. We agree, prior sanction was not provided. We went ahead with the prosecution because there was an implied sanction, the concept of deemed sanction. And for that matter, they refer two cases, Vineet Narayan and Subramaniam Swamy. While referring the Vineet Narayan case, they stated in this case, it has been stated that the time period of 3 months for granting sanction has to be strictly adhered to. Supreme Court has stated whereby Vineet Narayan does not relate with section 197. It relates with the power of CBI and CVC investigation powers. And even if we say that there is this interpretation under this case law that there should be a strict adherence to the sanctioning rule, over here it cannot be interpreted that after this, if this is not being strictly followed, there will be a concept of implied sanction, that the sanction would be implied as if it has been given if this has not been strictly complied with. Fine. Moving ahead with Subramanian Swamy. In second scenario, they were referring also to Subramanian Swamy, stating that over there, the Supreme Court has simply stated, even this court, मतलब वो बार बार कह रहे, Supreme Court has also stated, if no decision is taken by the sanctioning authority within the extended time period, एक टाइम पीरियड दिया हुआ है, उसके बियॉन्ड भी अगर एक्सटेंडेड टाइम पीरियड भी है, उसके अंदर भी if no sanction has been given, then it would be deemed as a sanction has been given. Now, Supreme Court has analyzed this case and stated, firstly, Subramanian Swamy also does not deal with CRPC 197, rather it deals with Prevention of Corruption Act, and the sanctioning which has been talked about is the sanctioning under Prevention of Corruption Act, firstly. Secondly, they moved ahead and stated, over here, this thing which has been quoted and relied upon by the complainant is the thing which has been recommended to the parliament. But this recommendation was not yet followed by the parliament, thereby this cannot be enforced. On these behalf, both these contentions of deemed sanctioning was rejected. See, there is no concept of deemed sanctioning. Understand. Loopholes ढूंढते ना, लॉयर का काम क्या है? Loopholes ढूंढना. They are finding the loopholes कि हाँ, they are agreeing actual prior sanction मुझे नहीं मिला. We have not followed the provision of 197. But there is a concept of deemed sanction. क्यों? क्योंकि BIS ने जो भी उसके पास टाइम पीरियड था जिसके विदिन उसको फॉलो करना था, जिसके विदिन उसको टाइम ग्रांट करना था सैंक्शनिंग, उसने नहीं की. बट इवेंचुअली जब वो एंड हो गया टाइम पीरियड, उसने वो इवेंचुअली डिनाई कर दिया. बट उसके बाद इन्होंने क्या सोचा कि यार डिनाई तो हो गई है, बट वी नीड टू प्रोसिक्यूट विद द केस. ओवर देयर दे टुक द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ डीम सैंक्शनिंग एंड स्टेटेड अगर विद इन दैट टाइम पीरियड बीआईएस ने अगर नहीं दिया तो वी विल थिंक कि इम्प्लाइडली उन्होंने दे दिया. अंडरस्टूड. थोड़ा सा ऐसे गोलमोल है क्योंकि फैक्ट इधर उधर है. फाइन. I'll tell you, just give me 2 minutes, मैं आपको explain कर दूंगी. Therefore, we are of the opinion that the learned magistrate has not right in taking cognizance of the offence against the appellant herein, without there being a sanction for prosecution granted by the competent authority. Further, the High Court erred in not considering the fact that the sanction for prosecution was not granted by the competent authority, and eventually the sanction was expressly denied by the competent authority with respect to the allegation against the appellant. The necessary sanction not having been granted has vitiated the very initiation of the criminal proceeding against the appellant here. Understood? So over here they are objecting as to the magistrate cognizance, as well as they are stating the High Court has erred in considering the fact that no sanction has been provided, and eventually the sanction was also denied. Moving ahead, appeal is allowed. Consequently, the charge sheet, summoning order, and the consequent steps, if any, taken by the trial court pursuant to the same are liable to be quashed via the appellate. As together, the proceeding is still pending before the ED, as against the ED, but against the appellant, Suniti Tuteja को remove कर दिया गया and has been quashed. Now, what happened in this case? Appellant was made one of the respondents. Appellant contended that I was nowhere involved, firstly, and secondly, all these allegations are wrong because I was not involved in the sexual harassment case, and secondly, there was no prior sanction. Now, the complainant over here is stating, we agree there was no prior sanction, but there is a concept of deemed sanction. We followed deemed sanction under Vineet Narayan case as well as Subramanian Swamy case, and thereby we went ahead with the prosecution. Up over here, the thing is, Supreme Court is dealing with the thing whether prior sanction is one of the requirements. While going ahead and determining it, they have stated yes, prior sanction is one of the sine qua non requirement of going ahead and prosecuting any public servant as per 197. If only and only if they are discharging their public duty. Any offense committed by them while discharging their public duty, then 197 subsection 1 has to be followed. Clear? Moving ahead with the further contention, because the complainant has stated that there is a concept of deemed sanction, the Supreme Court had rejected that concept, stating per se if you read 197 there is no such concept given under the law. Now, the two cases which has been referred by the complainant were not anyhow associated with 197, though they dealt with some other issues. And thereby, the Supreme Court had rejected both the contentions, both the cases which were referred by the complainant, and stated there is no such concept of deemed sanction. Remember, no concept of deemed sanction, only prior sanction. अगर sanction नहीं दिया, कोई भी assume नहीं किया जाएगा कि sanction मिल गया है, accordingly prosecution start नहीं होगी. Fine. Now, what is the remedy? What is not the remedy? That is second issue. Just according to this case, there is no such concept. अगर आपके पास कल केस आता, डोंट गो अहेड कि हाँ हाँ सैंक्शन नहीं मिला तो फिर हम चले जाएंगे. नहीं, आप प्रोसिक्यूट नहीं कर सकते अगर सैंक्शन नहीं मिल रहा है. सैंक्शन इज वन ऑफ द वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट नेसेसिटी रिक्वायरमेंट. फाइन. Over in this case, magistrate has erred in taking the cognizance, and secondly, High Court has also erred in not taking the question of fact as to the appellant got the prior sanction or not. अरे, she was the presiding officer. यहीं पर लिखा है. They started with this. In the instant case, the appellant had filed the counter affidavit and interacted with the complainant in her capacity as a presiding officer of ICC, presiding officer of Internal Complaint Committee. Internal Complaint Committee का कोई भी तो मेंबर नहीं बनता, ऑफिशियल वर्क ही कर रही थी ना प्रिसाइडिंग ऑफिसर बनके, और उसमें उसने काउंटर एफिडेविट फाइल किया, उसने इंटरेक्शन किया विद द कंप्लेनेंट, एंड देयरबाय शी इज अ पब्लिक सर्वेंट. ठीक है? Yes, please look at the last 3 lines. Now, are we clear with the case? Yes, everyone. I want everyone who is attending the class to say yes or no. Very, very important. I am taking these cases because of simple matter. These small interpretations have so much into it. These things will be only asked in an exam. Don't expect murder के ऊपर question आएगा, cognizable वो culpable homicide के ऊपर question आएगा, theft के ऊपर question आएगा. No, जो चीज settled है उस पे questions बहुत कम आते हैं. जो चीज unsettled है, जो चीजें समझ में नहीं आ रही है, उस पे questions आते हैं. Where should I scroll? ठीक है? If there is no such question, I request you please read this case. If you feel like there is any problem, we'll discuss while I'll be going ahead with the revision on Monday. We'll discuss upon it. ठीक है? Till then, be ready for your next class, and thank you so much. I've extended my class. I'll end my session for today. We'll meet tomorrow. I will confirm. बट सीआरपीसी के अंदर अभी नहीं है, मैं कंफर्म कर दूंगी बीएनएसएस का. दीज 2 केसेस विच वर डिसाइडेड वो हुए थे दूसरे लॉज में. ठीक है? एक आपका था करप्शन वाला केस, प्रिवेंशन ऑफ करप्शन. उसमें भी डीम नोशन नहीं था, डीम सैंक्शन नहीं बोला गया था. फर्स्टली वहां पर ये चीज बोली थी कि भाई एक्सटेंडेड टाइम पीरियड में माना जाएगा. दैट इज वन ऑफ द रिकमेंडेशन मेड टू द पार्लियामेंट, जो कि अभी तक फॉलो नहीं हुई है. सेकेंडली, इस केस में जो कहा गया था स्ट्रिक्टली अडेयर होना चाहिए. दैट इज समथिंग विच वाज रिकमेंडेड कि भाई जो आपका ग्रांटिंग पीरियड है उसको स्ट्रिक्टली अडेयर करो. इसमें कहीं पर भी आप इंटरप्रेट नहीं कर सकते कि डीम सैंक्शन होना चाहिए. दीज आर द 2 थिंग्स जो कि कंप्लेनेंट ने खुद से बिल्ड अप किए हैं. नो वे इट वाज गिवन अंडर द लॉज, वो केस लॉज, बट इट वाज मेड अप बाय द कंप्लेनेंट. कंप्लेनेंट को भी तो केस जीतना है, प्रोसिक्यूशन को प्रूव करना है, तो कैसे प्रूव करेगा? To getting the loopholes ढूंढे इन दोनों केसेस में. Are we clear now? Thank you so much. I'll end the session.
Enhance legal skills. Unlock success with Rostrum Legal.